Hey guys, what is going on? It is me, BakuriBox12 here, and welcome back to another Steambirds Alliance video. I want to take this moment to thank all of you for being so interested in this new game. My last video has quickly become one of my most viewed in the last several months, something I could not have anticipated. The official Discord server also reached over 5,000 members a little bit ago, and they've even extended the time frame for when the game is open. Instead of only being playable on the weekends, you can now play Steambirds Alliance anytime from Wednesday to Sunday. And like I said in the first video, the game is still in beta, constantly undergoing little changes to make it more complete. Like last week when I played, the loading screens were black, but when I played today, they had a little picture and tip to accompany them. These sorts of things aren't essential for making a game in the slightest, but it is those little things that show that you care about what you're making, and I know that these guys are doing the best that they can. Today I wanted to pick up where we left off before. I briefly explained the overall premise and game feel and how there are a lot of comparisons to Realm of the Mad God, as expected, but there's a bit more to it that I want to go over. In regards to movement, I failed to mention the maneuver ability. It's a backdash that quickly pushes you in the opposite direction you're facing at the cost of a little steam. It can be seen as an escape for when you don't have enough time or space to turn around manually. However, if you instinctually turn away from enemies when things get dangerous, you'll just back right up into them if you maneuver at that point. So it comes with its own responsibility. I also forgot to mention the Nexus key, or return home key in this game's case. Anytime you're out on the battlefield and you don't think you can survive, just press your return home key and a timer effect will go around your character and teleport you back to Rebel City. It's defaulted to backspace, but you can map it to whatever you want under options, keyboard and mouse controls, and interaction controls. And lastly, your primary fire has an automatic reload function. In other words, you can't spam your attacks without needing to stop and wait for a short cooldown to reload your weapon. This helps small and large groups not completely steamroll anything by unleashing a sea of firepower. And I think that's a pretty smart way of doing damage control. The cooldown really only feels bothersome when you're by yourself, which we all know is not how the game is meant to be played. So I finally got my paladin to level 20, which means I can now access the workshop to craft my own items by using materials that I find in the main world. I'm not sure how integral crafting is to the overall experience, but I can definitely see it being a convenient way of acquiring more stuff. I also ended up participating in a lot of the daily missions at the Pilot's Pub while leveling up, since it helped me streamline my journey and point me in the right direction for some experience as well as some small rewards. It didn't take me too long either. I may have gone through a few characters before getting 1 to 20, but it only took me about 45 minutes to fully level up my paladin from scratch, which, for someone like me who doesn't know the optimal ways of grinding for experience in this game, isn't too shabby. It's not much longer than what it would take me in Realm. The overworld has a nice gradual difficulty curve as well. I never felt like I was getting in over my head too early unless I teleported somewhere. What I found most enjoyable, however, was when I finally took my own advice and played in a big cluster of people fighting a big boss. And it was great. You see, the way that the game is set up is very traditional. When you enter one of the ships or portals in Rebel City, they take you to an island, which is the big overworld that we play in. And each of these islands comes equipped with a certain number of set-piece bosses that, when all destroyed, will take everyone to the final boss of the game, Meowza, this game's equivalent of Oryx. I haven't fought him yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Now, set-piece bosses can be super low tier for new players to fight, but it's only the tier 7 and above ones that will trigger Meowza. And each time that one is killed, it has a chance of spawning an event boss. Now, this is like a one-to-one recreation of how the realms behave in Realm of the Mad God, so all of this should come pretty naturally to us. What's different here, of course, is how it's played. I only got to fight a couple of them, but these guys are nuts. I caught the tail end of the Jinn fight, and I loved every second of it. I had no idea what was going on, but it was still really cool. The design on that thing is super eye-catching too. I really like his color palette and the star projectiles he fires. I fought the noble politician next, and it was only then that I realized a lot of the enemies will put up shields that can only be taken down by destroying surrounding artifacts. This is also where I realized that I have a very hard time dodging basically everything. I remember I went solo for about a minute and realized I was horribly outclassed by everything around me. The game is tough, no doubt, but because of how much the co-op is encouraged, I don't find it to be overbearing when I'm with all these players. The last big set piece I got to see was the raw generator, and well, I think the footage speaks for itself. I didn't notice it until now, but the camera actually pulls back a little bit to give you a slightly better view of your surroundings during these encounters. This also helps them feel more distinct and stand out compared to other regular enemies. Overall, I would have to say these are the highlights of the game for me. I really enjoyed them. The last thing I want to mention is that, yes, dungeons do exist in this game, and they're pretty standard for the most part. I haven't dabbled in the higher level stuff yet, since I have no idea what any of the drop tables are like, but you should be well acquainted with the go through a bunch of rooms and fight a boss at the end formula. Some of them do get a bit craftier, like the arena, which is a gauntlet rush of waves of enemies, but I've still got a lot to learn in this area, so I'll leave it at that. As far as I can tell, item tiers go all the way from 1 to 10, but I've only seen 8 as the most common high tier item. In fact, I got a lot of my gear just by sitting in Rebel City and picking up stuff that other players tossed out. Let me tell you, that takes me back. But that's all I wanted to talk about today. Hopefully this informed you a little bit more on what goes on in Steambirds Alliance. at least from a new player's perspective. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, don't forget to check out the next episode whenever I post it, which will probably be soon. Alright, see ya.